Previously on Adventure They Wrote.
There's a sharp knock on the door.
A cop knock.
The door opens to reveal a turtle draped in the colors of the Waterdeep Guard.
Sergeant Croc, funny of you to be darkening my doorstep.
Been a while, Max. Look, Max, I came here as a courtesy. I just wanted to let you know there's stuff going on above our pay grade. He kind of reaches into his cloak and he pulls out a piece of parchment. On the parchment is an address in the dock ward.
Do we want to head down as a group and check out this address in the docks ward?
So you arrive at the address and find a shipwright's yard with lots and lots of ships kind of in various stages of manufacture. They look entirely foreign to the types of boats that are normally in the Waterdeep harbor.
Do you mind if I ask who ordered these ships?
He says, well, I'm not really supposed to say, but seeing as how he's dead, that Gruken Axehaft guy.
Well, if he's dead, who's paying the bill?
We're delivering to his old lady now.
They call it the City of Splendors. Jewel of the North. But it's more like a spider's web or a beholder's lair. You're stuck as soon as you step foot in, and you can't tell your top from your bottom. When your best client is the imposing wife of a murdered smuggler, things can seem even more upside down than they always are. So yeah, to some, it's the City of Splendors. To everyone else, it's just Waterdeep.
So, the last time we played, you all went to the boatyard. You went to Stonemast Shipyard and got some information about a fleet of ships that Gruken Axehaft had commissioned before his untimely demise. Now, you wanted to come back at night and try to infiltrate the boatyard.
Yes.
And see what was going on. Is that still the intent?
Specifically, the big ship.
The main ship. And I prefer the term investigate, thank you very much.
Yeah, because Odra was the one that was inspecting the largest ship, so we want to see what she was inspecting.
Yes.
That's right. And investigating gets rid of, like, sort of the nefarious connotations of infiltrating.
Gilly would call it poking around, but...
Yeah.
That's right. That's because we're doing legit work.
Yeah, we're on the up and up.
This isn't illegal, it's extra legal.
It's super legal.
Great. Okay.
Do we want to scope out the place before?
Yes.
To see if like there's a night watch person or?
I think so.
They probably have some sort of security.
I think that's a good idea.
No, let's not all go running off to the docks to scope it out. Let's get the people that actually are really stealthy to go do that part of it, and then we can kind of weave on the other folks. I think we need to have more of a plan here, right? It can't just be, let's just walk up to the docks at night and see what happens.
Oh, I agree. I agree with that.
Whoever is stealthiest, the Countess would like to also bestow upon that person the blessing of the trickster in order to give advantage on stealth checks.
I was also going to say I can give someone bardic inspiration to give them an ability check.
A little bonus.
Add to their ability check as well. A little bonus.
Who is the stealthiest?
I feel like Max and the Druid, right?
I don't have great stealth, but I have natural camouflage.
Should we give Blessing of the Trickster to the least stealthy?
Yeah.
To give them a little bonus, right? Because I've got +5 to stealth.
Yeah, actually Gilly's really stealthy too. He's a monk, so.
Do monks have stealth?
Oh, he's trained in stealth.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe Max and Gilly.
Yeah.
But I do like Doran because Doran is, he can turn into different forms.
That's true.
Right, which makes it really easy for him to sneak.
Yeah, I don't have to be stealthy. I just have to not be noticeable.
Yeah, he can fit into
like
things.
Above notice.
Mm-hmm.
I probably stand out. I would say the Countess and Celine probably stand out the most. So
yeah, team tall.
Well, the Countess actually has a disguised self, so she could change her look. But I think it would probably be more beneficial to send Max and Doran.
How about this? We go down. If there's a guy, I can annoy him as an animal form while everyone does their stealth stuff.
Distractions.
To give us an advantage.
Like, are you going to be like aggressively begging as a dog?
Or like barking at him or biting at his, his pants and stuff just to bug him? Because most people, they'll just be like, you darn dog. Because if there's a guy there, he's also going to be looking like everyone's got to get on the boat.
Don't do anything that's going to get you kicked.
Yeah, because we don't want to have to go to the dog pound. And
No, that's not happening. I will not let that happen.
How off the rails would this campaign get if Brad got picked up by the dog catcher and you had to rescue him from the pound?
I think that's a great adventure. I think that's a great adventure.
Oh, side adventure.
That's a nice twist on like the prison escape.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be an extra episode later, is like Brad's rescue from the dog pound.
Yeah.
Too good. Okay, so is that the plan? Gilly and Max and dog form Doran?
Yeah, so Team Small, we will go and suss out what the security looks like, and then we can reconvene a block or so away and make our infiltration for investigation.
Ooh, that's a good hashtag.
It's a plan.
Who would like to get the blessing from the Countess?
Gilly is always happy to be blessed by whatever deities might favor him.
All right. The Countess just puts a hand on Gilly's. He's wearing a cap, is he?
Yeah, Gilly wears a cap.
So she's going to just lightly touch his cap and say, "Luck be with you."
Gilly kind of looks back at the Countess and smiles and says, that kind of feels warm and tingly. I like it.
She just raises an eyebrow.
Such a strange little creature. I'm going to give Bardic Inspiration... Max or Doran, who prefers?
Let's give it to Doran. That way he can, just in the event that he has to...
Gets tripped up.
If they try to kick me, I can jump out of the way better.
Right.
Yeah.
Celine doesn't do a lot of theatrics with her hands, so she will just sort of wave at you and give you Bardic Inspiration so that you're prepared and be like, go on, you little thing, you.
Doran looks all pumped up. I feel great.
That sounded so inspiring, by the way.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
He totally bought it, though. He's into it.
Fantastic. Okay, so Gilly and Max, I want you both to roll stealth checks. Doran, what animal form are you taking for your infiltration investigation?
I'm going to be a mangy dock dog. Like, just your kind of rubble-rousing sort of dog.
I love it.
And I'm just going to kind of walk around and watch them. And if there's something that needs distraction, that's when I'll dive into action.
Kat, what does the blessing of the trickster give me?
You have advantage on dexterity stealth checks for 1 hour, and that is it.
Well, that's all I need.
Gilly and Max, what did you get for your stealth?
15 on the dice, 20 total for Max.
And Gilly, you have advantage here.
Yes, I have advantage, and Gilly got a 14.
That's pretty stealthy. And these guards have not been anticipating much trouble here because it would be an absolute madman that would try to steal an entire boat, especially given who's paying for them. So you're able to get pretty close, and no one really notices you. I'm going to just do a quick roll for the guards here. So what you're able to suss out from a guard standpoint, you can see a couple guards sort of milling around, kind of walking, weaving in and out between all the boats. Some of them have mastiffs on leashes, and the mastiffs have sort of like little puppy, big puppy leather armor and their own kind of, like capped teeth. These are not pet dogs. These are vicious guard dogs.
Fletch, Gilly wants to get a better sense of, like, when you say a few and what have you, how many guards are there, if I can get a good vantage point to see that, and how many of these dogs are there?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, what I'd like you to do is roll a perception check for me.
Okay. I'm trained in that too. That's a 17.
17. And Max, you can go ahead and roll a perception check too.
That's a natural 20. 25 total.
25. You know, one of these days I'm going to institute a webcam rule for these rolls too, because I feel like you might be taking advantage.
I know that it's easy to roll a dice, but I'm happy to take a picture.
Doran, I also want you to roll a perception check, but yours is with scent. So if you get advantage with scent rolls on perception, go ahead and roll twice.
Oh, I most certainly do. Oh boy, that's great. 9. Do you want a picture? I rolled a 1 and a 7.
Well, we know Brad's not taking advantage of me.
Doran just has like a sinus infection.
Smells like the dock.
Okay, so Gilly, you're able to see 4 guards and 3 dogs. But Max is actually able to point out 2 extra guards that you missed in your scope. So 6 guards total, 3 dogs, and Brad, you don't know.
Well, I'm wandering around. But they're not like reacting to my presence?
You don't detect anything extra.
I'm just like wandering around the docks, like smelling
Some of the dogs have smelled you and like given you a look, but they are very well trained, and so they're not kind of going after you or anything. And because you're like this mangy, dock dog, that's something that these guys see all the time. So they're very nonplussed by your presence.
Fletch, I'd like to clarify a couple of things. So after conferring with Max, we have a total of 6 guards and 3 dogs. 3 of the guards have dogs then. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So 3 guards without dogs, 3 guards with dogs, and they're all kind of walking a pattern around and through the boats to try to maximize coverage.
Oh, are these like town guards or are they hired guys for the dock?
Hired guys. These are not men of the watch. They are just sort of like, they look like dock workers that are, making some extra coin, keeping an eye on these ships. Also, with the insane 25 perception roll, Max, you can tell these guys are not really keyed in. They're not paying a ton of attention to you.
Right.
They are going through the motions.
Are they focusing their attention on any specific ship, or are they just kind of meandering?
Meandering. No particular ship is getting more attention than any other.
Okay, what are the sight lines like to the big ship that Odra was interested in?
That's a great question. What I'd like you to do is roll an insight check.
Insight, huh? Interesting. Mm-hmm. All right, I am trained in that. 20.
Of course. So you're able to suss out kind of like the sight lines and where they're going around these boats, and you think there might actually be a path that with the right sort of sequence of movements, even the Countess could get through without being noticed by these guards.
Gilly will turn to Max and let him know, hey man, I think that, if we kind of watch these guards a little longer and just kind of get an idea where their routes are, we might be able to make it to the boat without, a lot of trouble.
I like where your head's at.
So Fletch, that's, I think what we want to do is spend, at least Max and I can spend some time, just getting an idea, like if the guards move in any particular patterns, especially as it relates to the large ship.
So through observing the guards and their movements, you're able to suss out, to the point that I made with Jason earlier, these guys are not really involved in this. They're here to collect a paycheck. They're just basically going through the motions. So it wouldn't be that difficult to sneak past them. And given their movements, there is a pattern that emerges, and you're able to determine when and the path that you would have to take to get to the big ship. The challenge is going to be that the mastiffs are much more alert. And so sneaking past the dogs is going to be more difficult because you have to stay far enough away from them that they can't pick up your smell, and you're not able to discern a pattern that will let you through that.
Okay, is there like a dock that leads out to the big ship? How is the big ship, moored against the docks?
The big ship is actually dry docked right now.
Oh, okay.
There isn't a dock that leads out into the water. It's one of those like things that's cut into the ground. So they basically shove these ships into the water and then push them out once they're done being built.
Does the ship have any netting on the side or anything that would help you climb onto the ship if you got past the docks onto the dry dock?
Ask the naval guy.
Jason has a thing for belly buttons.
You know it.
Oh.
Keep it in. That stays in.
Done.
Yeah, so everything is on land. There's not really an approach through the water that would take you up.
So we might not have to enter the ship the normal way. We might be able to climb the scaffolding if we need to.
There's some scaffolding that it looks as like it's being used in the construction. Now, the exterior of the ship is mostly built at this point, so it looks like the scaffolding is mostly used for workers to kind of get up into the ship so that they can work on the interior.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best option. What I would like to do, what Max would like to do, is try to see if there is any way for us to make a quick escape in the event that we are discovered while we are on the big ship.
Yeah, how high is the deck from the ground if we have to, say, jump off the ship and run? Or how far away is the closest ship that we could jump to from there?
That's a great question. I'm thinking about it in my head.
Yes, paint us a word picture.
The next nearest boat is not close enough to make a running jump. The top of the boat is 15 feet from the ground.
It's not too bad.
Just to clarify what this looks like in my mind, we've got this big dry dock area with multiple boats being built.
Yeah.
And the largest of these ships is in a recessed dry dock that has a track or some boards that run from the water off in the distance all the way up into this recessed pit, and the top deck of that biggest ship is 15 feet above the main sort of floor of the dry dock itself.
Yes, that's right.
Cool.
Well, with that, the pathway only has to get to the dry dock, at least, not to the ship, so it might be easier.
How do we usually communicate with Doran when he's in his animal form?
Well, I'm keeping an eye on you guys. That's like my main objective, is if they start noticing you, I'm going to do something, or Doran's going to do something. So if you guys signal to Doran, he'll see it.
Okay, sounds good. Do we know where we left Celine and the Countess?
That wasn't...
Probably at a bar.
Yeah, explicitly stated. I imagined like on the outskirts of the shipwright with like the Countess's traveling tea set.
Yeah, she's just using sacred flame to boil some water.
All right, well, what Gilly's going to propose to Max is that we go get the Countess and Celine, bring them as close as we can get them without them being obviously seen, and then wait for a break and then break for it and make our way to the ship.
I'm good with that. Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so Gilly and Max are going to leave Doran to hang around the docks for a little bit and head back to where Celine and the Countess are enjoying their little tea party.
That sounds great.
So Team Short is going to recount all of this information.
Yeah, Team Short gives a rundown.
That's because Team Short rules.
Do we think that these mastiffs might prove to be a problem? Asked the Countess.
Gilly looks at the Countess and says, they're just dogs. I mean, they're dogs. We just have some treats on you.
Celine looks back at Gilly and... Yeah, but aren't they bigger than you?
Them's fighting words.
And she giggles just like that.
Makes it a lot more fun. you can, if you get lucky, you can ride them. It's like, it's like busting a Bronco.
Oh, what now? My word. Perhaps we ought to find such treats or something to obfuscate our scent.
I agree.
Max has an idea. Goblin farts.
I do not want to smell like goblin farts.
That's not a good idea.
I was thinking rather that we are close to the water, and perhaps there are some fishermen who have disposed of fish guts and heads, and we could perhaps put together a sack of that and cover up our tracks.
Hey, works for me.
Yeah, who's getting their hands dirty?
Well, I believe I was the one with the suggestion, so someone else should do the work.
Of course.
Back to her tea.
Of course. Max will quickly run to see if there's any refuse or anything like that we could use to kind of toss and
You know what, Max? It's Waterdeep.
throw scent off the trail.
You find garbage everywhere. Yeah, you're able to find sort of an area where it looks like some fishermen have cleaned up the evening's catch, and there's a pile of fish guts that the dogs haven't gotten to just yet.
I'll grab some of that just to have on hand, just in case. All right, let's do this. We have our pattern. We know which way to go. These guards are limited at best in their concentration and their caring, so I feel like we should be able to just get there. My biggest concern is getting out, but I think if we're leaving, it'll be easy to just leave.
Well, I may have a plan if it comes to that.
Does your plan involve me, using my fists?
No, I believe we might be able to deceive these.
Nuts.
These guards seem rather dim-witted, if you ask me, based on your, assessment.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping, I get a little chance to do some boxing here. It's been a few days.
Well, I'd rather we not get into a situation where animal cruelty is involved.
Oh, not the animals so much. We'll take care of them.
Gilly is not an animal.
So are you making your approach into the shipyard?
Yes.
Yes.
I think that is a good idea.
How much time has passed since Team Small has been doing this?
Done a reconnoiter.
Great word. 1 hour. Yeah, it took 1 hour.
Okay, that's as long as the blessing lasted, and the Countess can cast it again. Probably on somebody who has the least amount of stealth.
Like yourself?
Like myself or Celine. Celine, what's your stealth?
+3.
Oh, then she shall cast it upon herself.
I think that works.
If you want to trick them, I can also give you Bardic Inspiration. It's only 10 minutes, I believe, so it's definitely not as long, but I can cast it on you as a bonus action if we get into a little bit of a tizzy.
I shall give you a signal in that case. And she just does this little twirl of one of her fingers.
I would like everyone to make stealth checks with advantage.
Sweet.
The Countess was so close to a 23, but it was a 22.
Celine got a 20.
Gilly got a 17.
Max got a 21.
Doran isn't being stealthy.
No, he's not. He's being surreptitious. You are all able, with the help of the fish guts and the knowledge of the pattern that you identified, you're all able to make it to the ship quietly enough that you're unnoticed.
Okay, great. Gilly's going to post up kind of watch on the ship while the investigator types do more investigating.
Max is going to climb as quickly as possible up and into the ship.
Celine is going to race him?
Yeah, contested acrobatics.
All right, contested acrobatics. Let's do this. That's a 3 on the dice for an 8 for Max.
Celine got a 12.
Nice.
Don't forget, she was in the circus for quite some time.
That is very true. And has a tail.
Right?
Yeah.
She has a tail for extra.
Damn it.
And her legs are quite longer.
You both make it to the top, but Celine makes it up well before Max.
She just kind of sneers at him. Mm-hmm. And then, stands up.
Next time.
The Countess will make her way up with much more care.
Brad, what is Doran doing?
Is the scaffolding navigatable by a dog?
Yeah, there's a sort of ramp system that it looks like was used to bring up wheelbarrows and that sort of thing, so you can make it up.
Doran will jump down to the dry dock. He is fine with taking fall damage because he can take consequence-free damage. And then he'll just make his way up the scaffolding. I can roll.
Great.
He can roll stealth check if you need him to make sure. Well, why is that dog climbing that scaffolding over there?
Yeah, roll a stealth check.
13.
None of the guards even notice you head up. So now, Max, the Countess, Doran in mangy dock dog form, and Celine are all up in the largest of the ships. It's not like a galleon that you would see in like Pirates of the Caribbean or something like that. But there is one door that kind of leads down into the hold area. Otherwise, the actual deck of the boat just has like some benches for rowers, one bracket in the middle where it looks like the mast will go, but it's not installed yet, and some racks along the wall to hold weapons and shields and that sort of thing.
Is there a captain's cabin?
No, there is not a captain's cabin.
Celine wants to look around and kind of see if there are any sort of like containers or barrels or things that she could open, like quietly.
There are not.
Doran would like to roll a smell perception check to see if he can pick up on the scent of... I forgot her name.
Odra?
Odra, yes, of course. Of Odra's scent.
Dasbane.
The scent of a woman.
Hooah! Hooah!
The scent of a giant barbarian woman.
Yeah, go ahead.
19.
Yeah, you definitely pick it up.
And then, of course, follow it around.
It leads down into the hold.
Doran will get to the stairway to the hold and kind of do the Scooby-Doo point with his nose.
All right, let's do this.
Yes.
Let's, shall we split up and sort of spread out through the hold and see what we can find?
How large is the hold?
It's pretty big. It runs almost the entire length of the boat. You also see down at one end, there is kind of a table set up, and it looks like it's not permanent. It's just something that has been put there temporarily. It's not a feature of the boat. And there are some items on the table, but it's at the other end of the boat, so you're not able to tell what they are.
Does the scent trail lead to the table?
It does indeed.
Oh.
Let's go there.
Are there any hiding spots as we make our way down that way?
None that are obvious.
Max, the detective, would love to check for traps as we are on our way.
Go ahead and roll a perception check.
All right, perception. 4 on the dice, 9 total.
You're not able to find any traps.
That old question, was I not able to find them because there are not any there?
There's only one way to find out.
All right, let's make our way down to this table. Gingerly, quietly.
Chris, do you remember off the top of your head how much damage purple worm poison does?
No, I could look it up for you, though. I have a Dungeon Master's Guide right here.
No, that's all right. Talk about a joke that only like longtime D&D players are going to understand.
Yeah. It's a lot. Let's put it that way. A lot. Too much.
God damn it. I'll be rolling up a new investigator now.
Maxine, the goblin detective.
What about Max the ghost detective, though?
Season 2. I love it.
Whoa.
Oh, I like that.
That seems sweet.
You guys, I smell an NBC sitcom.
Goblin Ghost Detective.
I think it's ahead of its time now, but in a few years, they'll be knocking at our door. We want that goblin ghost detective. Okay, so you head down to the table. There are no traps, no purple worm poison. When you get to the table, you can see that it's covered with papers. Lots of different papers. Some of them are writing and some of them are maps.
Max would like to take a look and see what we find.
Max, go ahead and roll an investigation check.
Investigation, 1 moment. 6 on the dice, 12 total.
The papers with writing on them are ledgers, mostly like weapons and armor, that sort of thing. The maps are, they seem to be... Actually, I want you to roll a wisdom check.
Like a save or a check?
Check.
All right. Not my strong suit. 16 on the dice, 17 total.
Oh, actually, you're able to identify the maps. These are sort of the discovered coastlines of Chult.
While Max is looking at the table and the maps, I'd like Celine to kind of like start looking at the floor under the desk. It's like kind of knocking around and seeing if there's anything hollow in the space.
Yeah, you find. That was so specific that I'm not even going to have you roll a perception roll. You find a kind of, it's not exactly a hidden door, but it's not exactly like an obvious door either. You find a little compartment under the table.
Would you look at that? Seems that there's something underneath the floorboards.
Let me know if you need a small person to get up underneath there.
And then she's gonna kind of like try to open it up a little bit and see if she can look inside.
Purple worm poison. No.
Damn traps.
Again.
You open it up and there's a little box in there and 3 tightly rolled scrolls.
Ooh. I'm gonna take those out. Countess, would you like to do the honors?
Oh, absolutely. That's lovely of you. And she's going to carefully unfurl one of the scrolls.
So the scroll that you unroll has shipping manifests for ships that have come north from Chult. And you can see in the manifest that there's lots of artifacts and even some silver that have been plundered from the southern continent.
Do any of the names on the map ring a bell to her?
No. The names on the manifest aren't from places. It's just the ships that are coming north from Chult. You don't recognize any of them.
Okay. So she'll roll that one up and take a look at the others.
More of the same. Some of them are richer than others. Some of them, don't have as many artifacts or less silver, but the wealth represented in a lot of these ships is pretty substantial.
Is there a final tally on each of the scrolls?
Not one that's written, but we're talking about thousands and thousands of gold pieces.
Okay.
Worth of treasure and artifacts.
Any indication on where it's headed after it gets to the port?
No, these are just shipments that have been delivered to Waterdeep and unloaded at the Waterdeep harbor.
Is there a timestamp on them to show how recent they are?
The oldest one dates back like 4 or 5 months ago. The second oldest is 3 months ago, and then the last is like 2 months ago.
The Countess would like to take a look over Max's shoulder and look at the historical maps and see if she recognizes anything from her history lessons.
Nothing substantial. It's just a standard representation of the Chultan coast.
Any indication on where these shipments are coming from on these maps?
There are paths sort of outlined on the maps, routes through the Sea of Swords and around the Moonshae Islands. Those are represented with dotted lines.
Do any of the shipments sound like something that Celine might have known of going to any of the lounges that she worked at through her connections?
That's a really great question. Actually, roll a... Maybe that's not a roll. That's just a really insightful question. You do know that fences have been moving a higher proportion of illicit antiquities in recent months. It hasn't been enough to set off any alarm bells with the higher ups, the muckety mucks, as you will.
That's what Gilly calls them.
Yeah. There definitely has been kind of an uptick in that.
Is it through any of the specific lounges that she worked at, or?
No, just kind of across the city.
I think we should secure all of this paperwork and take it with us as we go.
How long ago was this fleet requisitioned again?
18 months?
A total of 36 ships in 18 months.
18 months total, but it was 10 months ago that they started the work, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and we had a note from our meeting with the foreman about the Kalashite boys moving illegal antiquities out of Chult.
So that could be our next...
They wanted Gruken to move something. He didn't want to move it. And now we're seeing theoretically his ship with manifests of possibly their goods.
So maybe Odra decided she wanted to do business with them.
Gruken wanted out of the game, but Odra wanted back in, so she axed him. She axed his haft.
Axehaft out.
All right, we solved it. We did it.
We win!
And we're done.
Yeah. Great game.
Season 2 of Deep Trouble coming next time. Talia, remember that there's the little box that was in there too.
I thought that's what the scrolls were in.
Little box and 3 scrolls.
Oh, don't forget about this little thing.
Aw, what's in the box?
I'm going to check it before I open it.
It's not that kind of campaign, Brad. Yeah, go ahead and roll a perception check on it, Talia.
Oh, that's not going to help. That's a 1. And I don't even get a plus anything.
It's
Definitely a box.
It's a box.
Definitely a box. I'm going to open the box.
No traps. There is a dagger inside.
Good.
But it's a very strange dagger. It looks as if it were carved from some sort of bone or perhaps like a giant tooth. And there are very intricate carvings all along what on a metal dagger would be the blade.
Would one say it could be like a tusk, perhaps?
Yeah, it's possible.
Is that a Chultish style?
No, this is distinctively Luskan.
Okay. So the Thrice Tusk Brigade, probably.
No, it's much bigger than an orc tusk. It's like a full-size dagger.
Okay, Countess, you go for your...
Oh no, I thought perhaps it was an orc tusk, but this seems rather larger. Perhaps Doran, my dear, do you think this might be a dinosaur?
Doran will do a nature check, yeah?
Celine will kind of like bring it over to Doran.
Ooh, yeah. Roll that nature check.
A natural 1, so that's like 5.
You're not able to tell what it is. It's not bone, though.
Whoa!
Doran will leave wild shape then and communicate that. I don't know what it is, but it's not bone.
It doesn't smell like a dinosaur.
Celine's going to do a nature check on it as well because she had that run-in with the tree folk that kind of from her past. So she started studying a little bit of it. And so she knows probably not as much as a druid, but a little bit more probably than the rest of the folks. That is a 15.
So this is a tooth, but it's unlike any tooth that you've ever seen.
It is in fact a tooth. I just don't know what it's from.
Countess, is there any way that you can check to see if this is magical in nature?
I'm afraid not. I came rather unprepared for detecting such things. But perhaps if we manage to pilfer it, we could take it back to the office and I could spend some time looking at my books this evening and preparing the proper spell for it.
Gilly,
Yes.
roll a perception check, please.
Uh-oh.
Oh my.
Gilly got an 18.
You hear the sound of a crossbow firing and the sound of someone dying quietly.
That's not good. What will our intrepid investigators do next? And what sort of sneak attack bonuses does our crossbow assailant have at their disposal? You'll just have to tune in next week to find out. And yes, you heard me correctly. I did say next week. Next Thursday is American Thanksgiving, and we've got episode 7 a week earlier than usual because Jason, aka Max, your editor-in-chief here at Adventure They Wrote, I am going to PAX Unplugged the week after Thanksgiving, so we're juggling the schedule just a smidge to prevent me from having to produce before I fly. Hey, as usual, I would love to say a huge thank you to you for listening. We've been receiving some really great feedback about the show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for posting. Thank you for sharing it. And thank you for watching our Extra Life game that we did at Wizards of the Coast last Monday. You can find the VOD on Twitch and on YouTube, and we will be posting the audio of that as a podcast in the weeks to come. So stay tuned for that. Huge thanks to Greg Tito and to Shelly Mazanoble for giving up their Dragon Talk time to allow us to play some live streaming D&D for the first time for me and for a few of the other people on the cast. It was a really great experience. We raised a lot of money for charity, and I'm really excited that we got to do that. So thanks for tuning in. Once again, and as usual, I want to say thank you to Tabletop Audio for providing all of the ambiance. Not a whole lot of sound effects in this episode, but if you are looking to enhance your gameplay at home, check out tabletopaudio.com. Tim has all sorts of 10-minute looped sound beds, sound pads with all sorts of cool sound effects. I love using his stuff, and we really, really appreciate him allowing us to use them. That's going to do it for episode 6 of Deep Trouble. Tune in next week for episode 7 and find out what happens after dark at Stonemast Shipyard. The Adventure They Wrote podcast is copyright 2018 AdventureTheyWrote.com and is licensed under the Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivative Works 4.0 International License. That means that you can share it, and we really encourage that, but you can't make any changes to it, and you're not allowed to charge for it. If you have any questions, visit creativecommons.org.
Well, I'd rather we not get into a situation where animal cruelty is involved.
Oh, not the animals so much. We'll take care of them.
Gilly is not an animal.
I was drinking.
Oh no, he was eating. Oh.
I was taking a great big sip of Coke Zero right at the wrong time.
Oh, well played.
That stays in too.
Yeah. 20 ways to kill a DM.
Oh, Jesus. Coke Zero, not a sponsor, but I am taking calls.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Oh.
You know, you might want to switch to water.
It won't burn as much.
It's a good thing you didn't have any of that honey wasabi that Jason was talking about.
Right?
Oh, yeah, tell me about it. Because the Coke did go up into my nose.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, very uncomfortable. Ooh.
I don't want to, send you to urgent care over your Coke Zero fiasco.
Oh, yeah, they don't have a checkbox for, Dungeon Master accidents at urgent care.
We could start a clock on our website that says day since last incident.
Oh, man. It's bubbly in my nose.
Ooh, it tingles.
If you kill the DM, that counts as winning, right?
That is how you win D&D.
You've beaten the game.
They said you can't win, but
Yeah, that is objectively winning.
I can't tell us what to do anymore.
Okay. So are you making your approach into the shipyard?
How much time has passed since Team Small has been doing this?
Done a reconnoiter.
Great word. 3 hours.
Okay. So,
Oh, wow.
Wait, 3 hours?
Yeah.
That's not good.
Really? It took us that long to figure that out? Holy cow, we're slow.
Well, to figure out the patterns and stuff. Yeah.
Wild Shape only lasts 2 hours, so.
yeah, you find Doran back having tea with the Countess and Celine.
Brad just ends up as Doran, naked, walking around on all fours.
Yeah. Let's rewind then. 1 hour. Yeah, took 1 hour. Took 1 hour. Took 1 hour. Took 1 hour. Took 1 hour.